I think there is a feeling for folks that, Jackson's a great place to live. There's fun things to do here. We live in a beautiful area and people don't have problems here. That's not true. The Van Vleck House has two programs, one of which is the Adams Canyon Crisis Shelter, and the other is the Van Vleck House Group Home. The Crisis Shelter is kind of our point of entry for children in the community, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a facility for kids in crisis. I'd say that a large majority of the clients we see are voluntarily placed by their parents, and generally those families, things are rough for many different reasons. And the crisis shelter provides a free up to 30-day placement for children to kind of take a breath. We provide individual and family therapy, so we have two therapists on staff, and they do individual and family work with the kids. Really, I think a lot of the frontline staff work is the most important work of building relationships with kids, being safe, providing a safe environment that's structured, and try to help them start opening up. We see about 50 kids a year in 5 crisis beds at the crisis shelter. So out of those 50 kids a year, 85 to 90% go home within that 30 days, and many of those never need more services. That's enough just to kind of reframe what's going on, give the parents a different perspective of how to look at it, help the kid kind of settle down, and helping them see that they have more control of what's been going on at home by noticing that they can do things differently with us. The group home is a court-ordered facility, so kids are court-ordered here either by the judge, either under a delinquency petition or what's called a child in need of supervision petition. So kids that are in the group home are court-ordered to complete our program. The program takes 6 months to a year. A big part of the role here is helping kids learn how to communicate, and a lot of kids that we end up working with, their main form of communication is when they're dealing with frustration, sadness, embarrassment. They show that in anger. A big part of the role here, or the big part of the experience, I would say, for kids is learning how to identify emotions, talk about them in a real way instead of masking them with other things. We're not in the business of fixing kids, I would say. We're in our role in the social services in Teton County is providing kids a safe place to be while they work on trying new things and finding their own experience. A lot of the kids we work with have experienced trauma. Trauma, and these are the kids that generally end up in the group home. Trauma can be anything from a really nasty divorce that they got stuck in the middle of for a while, and they've learned how to manipulate and triangulate their parents in between them. Trauma could be a parent who's dealt with substance abuse issues and the children have been neglected as their parents have dealt with their own addictions. Trauma could be sexual abuse, and that could be from family members, it can be from neighbors, peers, but those things, the experience becomes very different for the kids, and the therapeutic work sometimes becomes more difficult and slower, kind of helping those kids see the world in a different way. Their life experience is living meal to meal and wondering what hotel room they're going to live in next because the rent went up. That's realities of our community, and as the housing market continues to change and become more difficult, it's creating a different stressor that's becoming more prevalent in our community for families. A lot of times parents are like, we don't know what's going on. Like, they just, things were great in middle school and now they're in 8th, 9th grade, and all of a sudden we're really struggling with our child. We might have a 15, 16-year-old child who their traumatic event happened when they were 10 or 11, and they're still functioning at a 10 or 11-year-old mindset because trauma kind of stunts growth and development. A lot of children that we work with, many of them have kind of lived somewhat chaotic lives. Where's the next meal going to come from? Um, how am I going to afford the new clothes that we want? Where am I sleeping tonight? Those kind of basic things. Who's going to be home when I get home? Is anyone going to be home? Am I going to be cared for? Most of our kids go to public school. I would say all of our kids go to public school. We live in a great place. We're really lucky. I like to say we're the only ski in, ski out group home in the States, with Snow King right across the street. Kids learn a lot of life skills when they're here in the program. Little things like laundry and hygiene, taking care of your room, cleaning. Um, Kids here have a night a week where they cook dinner for the group. Most kids do not want to be here, and that's how we would like to have it. We want kids to go home. We're not in the business of keeping kids here. We want kids to want to go home. We want families to want their kids, and we want kids and families to work together to learn new skills to make home a easier place to be and a more successful place. So kids do come back often and visit. Generally, I would say realistically, it's like a year or two after they graduate the program that we start seeing kids come back and say, I'm doing well. Thank you so much.